everyone, welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan.
And I'm Meg.
And today we're talking about Dr. Stone, episode 15, The Culmination of 2 Million Years. And I'm not sure if this will show up in the audio, but there's a dog barking in the background, so pay no heed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's fine. We're also recording together, so...
Yay!
With Magma defeated, it's down to Senku and Ginro to take the throne. Although both are on the same team, one is driven by personal greed and opportunism. The fight is on.
I don't know if that really covers
right?
Because it's not just Senku and Ginro.
Yeah, because Chrome's in it too.
Yeah.
And like no mention of the most important thing.
Yeah. I will say, if you didn't know what all happens in the episode, this is a pretty interesting description. It would make me want to watch the episode. But yeah, It just doesn't cover everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have said something like, will they be able to take the throne and save Ruri? Anyway, this covers manga chapters 39, and the winner is 40, 2 Million Years in the Making, and 41, Dr. Stone.
I'm surprised they name dropped. I mean, they've name dropped a few times, and I have actually seen an interesting post about like the name, because it really
It
refers to. I think it refers to multiple things.
I mean, it could refer to Senku himself, but I don't
yeah, and one other thing I know that we can't talk about.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it kind of does work still. Is that the stone itself, when you come out of it?
Yeah, it hit Senku when he had it on his neck. I just love talking to people who don't know the show, and they point at Senku and go, "Oh yeah, he's Dr. Stone."
Think again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does play doctor in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, let's get into the episode, because there's a lot to talk about. It's super... wow, there's just been, like, multiple episodes in a row that have been really important for the series, just, like, as a whole.
Mm-hmm. This one, I don't know, by the end of it, you were fully invested in whatever comes next.
Yeah, so let's get into it. The grand bout, it's almost over, and as we know at the last episode, it's just Senku and Ginro and Chrome left, so the Kingdom of Science is gonna win. And everybody is kind of like, Chrome's gonna win and get to marry Ruri, and everybody's really happy. And Ginro is like asking Ruri, like, aren't you so excited? And she's like, I'd be excited about anyone, and I don't care. And basically she does care, but she can't say it. And everybody's like, you're an idiot, read between lines, bro.
Yeah, because Ginro's all like, wait, now I could be the chief.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and so in the Senku versus Ginro battle, Ginro wants to win, and so he's just like going after Senku so hard, and Senku's running around like, what the heck, dude, I thought you were gonna like throw the match, and everybody's like, Ginro can't win, it's gonna be a terrible place, because he's like, I'm gonna have a harem, everybody gets a harem, and
he was doing great in the first part of the episode. Like, I was impressed with Ginro for being like, hey Ruri, Chrome's gonna win, that's great, and he's like calming her down, and he's just on her side, because everybody loves Ruri. And then when she says that, they even have that little picture, and in the manga they explain it's like his good side versus his sleazy side, and his sleazy side just pops up.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, why is he, like, in his head, there's, like, a...
naked little Ginro. Yeah. Yep, that's his sleaziness.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And... so Senku needs to win this. And Chrome, once again, helps him out. He, gives Senku Suika's helmet, and Senku uses it as, what are they?
Fulcrum?
Yeah, fulcrum, that's the word. And he like, puts his
puts the spear, practice spear stick.
Practice spear, like, on the helmet, and then he steps on one end, and the other end goes up and gets...
You even see, like, how much force. So, like, when you use a lever, the force applied is increased. Mm-hmm. So, let me find the exact... By the way, the facial expressions Senku makes during the fight are just the best. Mm-hmm.
He's
Okay.
truly fighting for his life out there.
Yes, so the force he applies to the end of the stick is 25, whatever. I can't read the bottom one.
I don't remember what that.
Okay, well,
symbol
he applies 25 of force, and he gets 125 of force on the other end. That just ends Ginro's family line.
Let's hope so, honestly.
Ginro can go on to have kids, but not Ginro.
Yeah, we can end with him. Yeah, so Senku wins. And then in the final match, it's Senku versus Chrome. And Chrome is like there cheering. He's the one that helped Senku win. But then now that he knows Ruri's safe, he like passes out, and so he can't compete. Yeah. It's so crushing. I don't understand. Like, I mean, it's just like tradition, and they're like, we're not gonna break that because I don't know. They were talking about like you can't anger the gods, and you have to do what
we have to do it how it's always done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Chrome loses his match, and Senku wins. And they're like, you get to marry Ruri and beat the village chief and get all this booze. And he's like, ooh, booze. So yeah,
because at first he's like, I've never seen him look so panicked.
Oh, that was so funny.
It's like, you marry her. What? Because that was never part of the plan. Everything was going perfectly up until that point, and everything came crashing down. But at the end of the day, it's better for the Kingdom of Science to like be in this position. So he agrees to the marriage, and as Suika says, this is happening so fast.
Yeah, but then Ruri like has another coughing fit and like coughing up blood, and Senku's like, oh, she's really sick, and we need to get back and make the drug. But the village is like, hey, we gotta celebrate your marriage. And he's like, I demand a divorce. He's like, I want a divorce. And so then they're divorced, and then you get Suika again being like, this is happening so fast, what's happening? And I forgot, there's one, what's his...
Kokyo?
Yeah.
So, the former village chief, as Senku calls him.
He's very not, he's like, you can't marry her, and Senku's like, I don't have 1 millimeter of interest in your lack of approval.
So, Kokyo is a character I was kind of iffy on up till this point, but I think in this episode, you see really how protective he is of his daughters, and that, I can relate to, like, having a dad who's very protective, too, so I started really caring about him, and like, you know what, he's a good guy. Like, I hope this works out. But,
I mean, up to this point, we didn't really learn too much about him, and it was just like, he's there.
He's kind of tough love, so it's hard to get, on his side. But when he's like, Senku, where did you even come from? We can't trust you. Senku's just like, my, if it isn't the former village chief.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. And then he gets divorced and runs off with booze.
That's amazing.
Yes, it's so good. And so now they gotta make their Sulfa drug, and they first make like this, I don't know, I called it a water mill, but it's not exactly. We'll get into more details about it. I have a very detailed explanation that somebody wrote up, so I will explain what that is. And Kasaki made it, and it's super fun. I very much enjoyed this because I think it's Suika and Kohaku are standing there, and he's like, aren't you impressed? And they don't care, and Senku's like, oh, I love it. I always fail on my first try, and Kasaki's like, I wasn't trying to charm you.
Yeah, Kasaki, I don't think he means anything by it, but I have noticed throughout the series, he'll say like, hey, you fallen for me yet? Like, he says that to anyone.
So they make their like little water contraption, and then Kasaki employs Gen to help him out, watch over it, and then everybody else goes back to the Kingdom of Science, and they need to wake up Chrome.
Oh yeah, there's a part in the manga. It was so sweet because Chrome's been passed out. I would have been more worried about him if I were everybody else, but they bring him back to the science shed, and you see a little panel Kawaku and Senku. Senku's dying and he's just carrying Chrome's feet.
Kawaku's carrying Chrome and something else.
Yeah, and Suika's tripping. She did that in the show, though. But
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Kawaku says, "You're no devil after all, Senku, carrying Chrome all the way back to the Science Kingdom and giving him some well-deserved rest." And then Senku sticks ammonia right up Chrome's nose, which makes him scream and wake up. And Senku says, "Rise and shine, Science Team, time to work." And Kawaku just says, "He's the devil."
Oh, I love it. But the show is funny because they're like, fun with making sulfa drug, and then they literally, it's like 25 steps of basically like mixing things together and like distilling things, and it's, what did they say, 25 steps, and they have to work all night, but in the end they make their sulfa drug.
Mm-hmm.
And Gen comes to check in on them in the morning. And
it's rough.
Yeah, something exploded and they're like, it's totally destroyed. And it's so, I don't know, it's so fun because they're all like standing around the last step. They're standing around to like get the sulfa drug, and everybody's like so proud of all their hard work. And it's taken them 6 months to get this far.
Yeah.
Like, they really had to work for this.
And everyone's backing Senku at this point. Like, their core group, they're telling the village, like, hey, we believe in him. This guy's good. We're going to help him. They're fully a part of the Kingdom of Science. And when they have the drug, the powder completed, Kawaku's about to start crying because she's like, this is what we've been waiting for. And she didn't think this day would ever come.
Yeah, it's like a really sweet moment. And then they all head to the village, but Gen, because he's an outsider still, he can't come, and so he has to go. Well, Senku's like totally, he just has so many sassy remarks. I don't even remember what he said, but
Suika said something like, "Oh, it's so sad that Gen can't join us," and Senku's like, "Yeah, stay behind here and wait."
All by yourself. So Gen goes back to the science shed, and what is waiting for him?
Bottle of cola.
Yes, Senku cola. And he's so excited, he drinks it, and we hear like the best, it's the craziest scream ever.
I don't think I'd have to listen to the Japanese version, but I don't think they did that. I think actually that might have been all Brandon McInnes, because I have heard him talk about the show before, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll ask the director if I can do something." Like, he'll have an idea and be like, "Can I do this?"
Yeah, so it's a super, very impressive scream. He's very excited about his cola.
He got up higher than I could.
Same. And then they give Rory the medicine. No comment there. It's just like, why?
Should have given her a smock or something.
Honestly, I'm sure Senku just like does not care.
If it were Chrome, he'd be like looking to the sky.
And Senku's like, whatever, it's just anatomy. He's like picturing underneath like the skin and like all the muscle.
He has X-ray vision. Yeah. He's like Psyche. It's like Psyche. It's like, when I look at women, I don't see anything. I just see muscle and tissue like any other person.
Yeah. But he gives it to her, and then he's like trying to diagnose, because they don't actually know what it is. So Senku's trying to diagnose what she has. He says she's got fluid in her lungs. And then he like goes back and dissects a rat, trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah, he said something like, well, in the manga he mentioned how there were a bunch of dead rats closer to where Ruri lived. Mm-hmm. So they obviously died from what she is suffering from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so he's kind of concerned because he's like, self-drug is good drug, but it can't take care of everything.
Yeah, he said if it was tuberculosis, then they're done for. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I would just be like, quarantine her off and like keep people away from her.
Yeah, TB is bad. So then Ruri gets sicker, and it seems like she's not gonna make it, and everyone is very concerned, and her dad again is like he's very angry and protective. He's like, you did this to her, and he's got Senku in a chokehold. But then he's like, Senku's like, no, she has pneumonia, and the drug is working because the bacteria is trying to fight back.
Yeah, I like that because it means when Senku ran into the hut, he like fell over on his knees, and at first we think it's because he's like, oh, it didn't work, and he's in despair. But he actually fell down from relief because he's like, oh, it's pneumonia. Thank goodness we can cure that.
Yep, and I really love when Kohaku like stands up to her dad, and everybody else really does too. They're like, we believe in him. He's gonna save her. And so then they go back to make more drug because it's not just one dose and you're good. And then she's better, and everybody's so happy, and her dad's crying. And she's running around. That was pretty funny. In
her, like, really tight dress. She looks like, you know those mermaid dresses you wear at weddings?
Yeah.
You can only move your ankles in those, so that run was kind of accurate.
It was, actually. Except for I never understand
bang, 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 bang. Oh, yeah. So,
I never understand the arms.
I have such a problem with animation and, like, animating how girls run, because I am a runner, so proper running form is, like... Well, we call it cheek to cheek. You put your thumb's supposed to go from your cheek to your face to your butt, basically.
Yeah.
But when they draw women running, especially in Snow White with the red hair,
I know, yeah.
Their arms just like crisscross over their chest, and who runs? If you're running downstairs, yes, by all means, animate them like that. Running downstairs is weird. You're gonna do weird things with your arms, but like, I've never run like that.
Yeah, they don't. Maybe that's a Japan thing.
Well, that's why we have the phrase, she runs like a girl. I mean.
Yeah, basically. Oh gosh, I hope it's not because of that.
Why would you crisscross your arms in front of your chest?
Like, it just looks like you're like doing
casting a magic spell.
Or like a new dance move.
To the next, to the next.
Anyway. So Rory's better, and then they make Senku the new chief of the village, and then we have this huge bomb dropped on us. That the village is named Ishigami Village, and Rory's like, I know about you, Senku, because your name is Senku Ishigami.
Yep. And then the episode ends.
Yes. And that's it. And he's like...
Yeah, the first time we watched that, I think the thing at the forefront of my mind was, how could she know him? But then learning the village was named that, I was like, how can that tie into Senku?
Yeah.
Okay, so, some manga notes, now that that's done. We've got, at the end of one of the chapters, we have Ginro's sleazy campaign pledges. Here's how things would be in this village if I became chief. Pledge 1, all you can eat ramen. Pledge 2, harems for all. Pledge 3, but Ruri and the 3 Sparkly sisters must marry me. Pledge 4, I never have to do guard duty ever again. Pledge 5, in fact, nobody ever has to work ever again. Pledge 6, every night we party until dawn. Pledge 7, science team uses the power of science to make everything even better.
He sounds like royalty from like...
yeah, let them eat cake.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like, at least he's thinking of other people. Like, he wants everyone to have fun, but there's no responsibility.
Yeah, things would fall apart quickly.
You're 16, buddy. You gotta think of other people more than...
That's why he's not, because he's a 16-year-old boy.
But they said anyone over 14 can compete in the...
Ugh. Yikes.
Alright, the other manga thing is a Mecha Senku Q&A. It sounds like Ohaku actually has eaten mice, but what do the villagers tend to eat in general? Do they grow crops? So Senku says, agricultural practices would not be very efficient in a community of this size, so they have developed neither the skills or the technology. The villagers are fundamentally hunters and gatherers. Above all else, they subsist on the abundance of fish that fill the surrounding lake. How lucky is what we would say, except that this location was picked for just that reason. The old man named Sho is a particularly skilled fisherman, and the fish he catches feed the entire village. This allows others to focus on their own specialties, like Chrome with his exploring. Which is kind of cool. I was wondering about that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's probably part of the reason why we thought Chrome was kicked out of the village, because he was always doing his own thing and not, helping with other stuff. But everyone has their area of expertise that they do, I guess. And then we're going to introduce another voice actor. So we're going to cover Kokio, who is Kohaku and Ruri's father. He's played by Jason Douglas, who plays Mike Zacharias from Attack on Titan, Miles from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Jefferson Hope in Moriarty the Patriot. And Kokio, his name means obsidian, which is a volcanic glass, which is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and as for tracking, Chrome said that's bad 2 times. I like the second one. Talking about all the steps.
That's
bad. Old man Chrome voice.
Yep. Yes. And then I wanted to talk about the carbonated water, how they made it. So basically, in the water contraption that Senku put together, they were making carbonated water for the cola, and also they're making baking soda. Okay, so this was somebody who posted asking how they did it on this website just called Anime and Manga, maybe? I don't know. And this answer was by the user Gachwar. Right? I have no idea.
Gachwar, yeah. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Okay. So they were talking about how this carbonated water contraption works. So, there is a jar labeled wine in the I don't know if it's in the manga at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did that in the anime, but it contains a sugar-rich liquid undergoing fermentation, and the 2 byproducts from that are alcohol and carbon dioxide. And then the jar is sealed aside from a hose which runs from the lid to the bamboo. Or 5. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start that sentence over. Okay. The jar is sealed aside from a hose which runs from the lid to the bamboo pipe through the barrel.
Sorry.
Which is perforated with many holes and is open on the far side. And then, so the carbon dioxide is produced by the alcohol. It goes up the hose and through the pipe where some will bubble through the water in the spinning barrel before escaping the far end of the pipe.
So it's really good they got a bunch of alcohol.
Yeah, and then the pipe seals the spinning barrel as it sits in the waterfall, which allows the bubbling carbon dioxide to carbonate the water. And carbonation is a process where carbon dioxide in water in low temperatures and under pressure will react to form carbonic acid.
Okay.
So.
Well, I think that's believable. I think that was the one thing about making cola where I was like, how on earth is he gonna, make carbonation? But yeah, speaking of that experiment, that is what we're doing for the monthly science experiment. We'll be posting on our YouTube channel.
Yes, and I think it's coming out next week. No, sorry. It is coming out this week.
Someone has to edit it, but yes, it will be coming out.
We did it over a month ago.
I edited the audio, but I haven't put everything
Yeah, that one
together.
is a fun one, and you get to see a video of us trying it. It is... Yeah. You'll have to watch it. Yeah, but that's kind of all we have for the episode. Now we want to talk about the current show that we're watching, which we finished Horimiya, and now we've started Tokyo Revengers.
Completely different from
Yes,
Horimiya.
very different. I would say so far I'm liking it. It's pretty it's dark, which that's not surprising because it's
gang war.
Yeah, it's okay. It's dark, but like the animation, it makes it seem less dark.
Yeah, well, it's really cute. The characters look really good.
Like, because I've seen like Psychopaths, and that is really dark. It's like kind of, they're cops kind of, so it's different, but it has some of like similar things that happen in it, and it's way more graphic. So
I bet. Yeah, I think the intensity from Tokyo Revengers comes more from the implied stuff. Like, you get to see the characters bruised and bloodied a lot, but I do notice that they do cuts when the brutal stuff is happening.
Yeah.
Or, like, when you hear about something really bad, it's like they're hearing about it after the fact.
Yeah, they don't show it necessarily.
Yeah, and I don't want them to show it, but sometimes it's almost worse when you hear about it after. Because you're like, oh, man, what? I also didn't expect it to be, it's kind of like Erased, where there's like this going back in time element.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's going like back and forth, which is, I mean, I knew the premise, but I didn't.
Sort of knew something about time travel, but I didn't think it would be back and forth so many times.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he can check back in with his friend.
Yeah. So we're liking it, and we will probably give updates as we watch it. I think was there like 3 seasons right now?
Yeah. Pretty short ones, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I think your favorite character is Mikey so far, is that right?
Yeah.
He came on the screen, she's like, oh, yeah!
I'm just waiting. I shouldn't say that about him. He's literally gang leader, but...
He's adorable.
He is.
But he's deadly.
But he's got dead eyes.
Yeah. What happened, man?
Yeah. Anyway, do you have a favorite so far?
I like the main character when he's older. I'm not sure. I like Mikey too. I can't really make a good judgment call till we see more of him. But Hanamichi. I want to say Hanamichi because that's what Mikey calls him. His friend group, like some of those guys are all right. They're involved in...
No, isn't it? Is that talking about the character?
Takamichi. Takamichi.
Like, who's that?
Oh, I got it mixed up because it's like I got the Hana because like Hinata. He calls her Hina.
I really like Hinata too. Yeah. She's pretty awesome.
Or sole female lead.
Yeah, so
you can
far.
call her lead.
She kind of is.
Yeah. And then so lots of characters to get to know. It's almost like they're good kids making bad choices, though. And
yeah, it is. Because even the main character's like, oh, Mikey's not actually a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like,
he seems to have a moral compass, at least.
And so does his buddy.
Oh, yeah, his buddy's awesome. Do they call him
Draken?
Draken?
Yeah. Draken. I don't remember.
I think Draken.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Draken because of Kim Possible, so...
I know.
See, I'm getting the names all mixed up.
No, that's the one thing I've noticed. Usually I'm like, at this point I watch enough anime where like I can get the names down pretty good, but this show I'm struggling with more. Anyway, that's what we're watching, and now let's do our outro.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, what was your favorite line?
Well, both of our favorite lines came from Senku. I'm going to give an honorable mention to Gen's little woohoo because that was awesome. But mine was, in that case, I want a divorce.
I love it. I will say this episode, this is like just a personal pet peeve of mine, but Senku was doing the thing where he like cleans out his ear.
He does that when he wants to be extra annoying.
Yeah, I hate like people in my own life do that, and it really bothers me. And
that's
so
the one flaw you found in Senku.
Me seeing him do that, it super bothers me. Yeah, like stop it. That's so gross.
He has to have one flaw.
Fine, I'll allow it. Yes, okay. And my line, also came from Senku, and it's when they're leaving the grand bout, and he's like, "Let's haul ass, citizens of the kingdom of science." He had a lot of good lines in this episode.
And isn't he he's dragging Kazuki behind him?
Yep.
I love that. It's like, when did I become a citizen of the kingdom of science?
Yes. And what did we learn in this episode?
We learned that the little things you do can make a difference. Especially in terms of Senku and the gang making Sulfa drug one step by one tiny step, and you finally see their map get filled in, which took them 6 months. Also, because of Kohaku bringing the hot springs water to Ruri, she didn't even know if it was helping, but Senku said, hey, you know what? I think that did help her hang on, as long as she did. And that theme reminded me of a character from Haikyuu. So it's Kita from Inurazaki. So his, I guess you could say motto in the show was sort of like, the things you do every day add up. Kind of, that's basically what it is, but I really like that, and I like how shows incorporate that sometimes, because the mundane and everyday things that you think are pointless can be the things that help you out the most in life, and it's good to remind yourself of that.
I like it. And then who pushed the story forward?
Senku for becoming the village chief and saving Ruri, and everyone else gets a little bonus point because they helped.
Yes, this is a great episode because they've been working on this for like the last 9 or 10 episodes. When he came to the village.
Yeah, it was almost
6,
immediately after he came to the village where they're like,
Yeah.
hey, can you help Ruri?
Yep. Yeah, so I guess that's it. This week we will also have our science experiment, making Senku Cola. That'll be out on Friday. And yeah, that's all we got.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.